I will call the budget public hearing of the Fremont Town Council for the budget for 2026 to order. Everybody has seen a copy of the budget. I'm going to presume everybody has looked at it for the breakdown. Are there any questions coming from any of you on the budget? Are there any comments coming from Kathy for the budget?
This, it's a $2.3 million budget. See, about a 92, this is what we're seeking anyway, we'll know that till December, $92,000 increase in the general budget, which is normal, which is our operating on there. Has trail funding in there for the school in place, which it did this year as well. So we've continued with that. The alley we hope to have bid out by the end of the year and encumbered, so we can still utilize this year's funds. Joe's seeking a police vehicle for his truck, so if we can get that, at least part of that out of this year's budget, we will probably ask permission on that for him to start getting quotes in September. And again, the delivery would be till after the first of the year, but we did cover whatever we have and offset the cost for next year. Let's see. Community crossing funding has, our match is in there, plan for that. And, you know, we have the lease rental in there, which we have 4 years left to pay on the building, so.
Oh, on the lease rental?
Mm-hmm. And that's a levy outside of our regular levy, so the park, fire, and general all come out of one levy, and this lease rental outside of that. I'll see some figure in there too, but that's why I said max, so. It's about-
I just have one question as we look in the future, you know, possible for a town manager to get back to town manager.
We've had that budgeted for several years. Whether or not that's something we're gonna be able to actually implement, you know, you definitely will within the next few years. It's just gonna depend on hiring anyone until we know what's really gonna happen with that, SR1. To see what and my understanding is there will be a lot more discussion at this next legislative session and when it comes up, so.
There was a good article in the paper in that SR1, and some of the people they talked to were from DeKalb, down by Auburn. We're talking elected officials. They're playing it, I guess you'd say they're it cool at this point, not knowing, but it did make reference to the fact that some of these things may be rediscussed and may be changed because the shortfalls are so high.
Because for one of the things, you know, with the LIT funding going away, that's gonna go away in 2027. So we have a police officer that's paid out of that, and half of the wages of a firefighter that's paid out of that. So then you're gonna need to figure out where to put that in. So all these extra employees, you know, you might have to pick and choose. We don't ever wanna get into that position, but that might be such as this. So, again, because not only is it going to do away with public safety lit, it's also going to do with your economic development lit, so that's gonna have to be absorbed by the general fund, and then also your certified shares that we already have in the general fund is gonna go away too. So, you know, you can thank the state for saying doing more with less, which we already do not. We've already, in order to get that fifth officer, we had to become a little bit more creative in how we did it. Picking it up, and then the public safety was a way to do it, so, and the low public safety to offset those costs.
You know, well, we've had discussions before, for example, what comes to mind to me is Fremont Music Fest, where we've talked about it and we help the committee. There's about 10,000 that comes from the town to help with security. And if we have to start cutting, you're gonna start whipping the lines right through. That's 10,000 that we don't have. And that would be saying no to that. You gotta make up some of the shortfall somewhere if things don't change drastically, so.
And one of the things we know with the lit too, if your population over 3,500, you can put your own tax, which is 1.2%. That's supposedly going to offset some of that cost. Nobody knows what that amount's going to be yet. You can approach the council can approach the county by letter and ask them to implement the tax. So that would be 1.2%. The county actually gets to keep 75% of that 1.2%. So again, then what does that leave us? You know, one of the things you don't want to be in this position where you hire someone and they've committed to you, and then you have to figure out how we're going to, you know, fund this.
There's also been talk by AIM to take that 3,500 minimum and lower it, maybe take it down to 25.
And even 2,000, because 2,000 is the amount that if you
Then we
are.
can do our own income tax for our own revenue.
Mhm.
But whether that ever comes to pass, I mean, it takes a lot of lobbying
Mhm.
to get something of that sort done.
There's enough concern, just like for the, our property tax cap, went from, and I don't know what happened with you, Bill, but, with the school, well, I think you did tell me that, but, we went from 5,400 to 38,300. That's a big jump for us, you know? Doesn't maybe sound like a whole bunch, but it is a lot for us. Those are some of the things, and that's just this, you know, just this year. And they're seeing that all over the state, they said, when I was in the workshop, so.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts? Nada? So we'll take it by a motion.
Well, actually, this is only just a public hearing, you can ask anybody if they want, to give their opinion, you know, if they have any
Welcome.
questions.
Do you have a question,
Well, do I need to get in line, or?
comment?
Just a quick one. I don't, if you guys don't know who I am, Zach Bernal. I'm on the school board. That's probably where most of you would know me from, but, since I guess it did get kind of brought up the last couple of years, I have been, kind of slowly watching what's going on with the town, and am one of those who would be interested in something like helping as a town manager. Listening, I mean, being on the school board, I definitely understand how budgets work, and hearing everything that you guys are talking about, you know, that makes total sense to me, the concerns you have. But I just want to make it known that that is something I am definitely interested in. I'm here to, you know, help with the community and be involved more and more as I can. I guess the only thing, just as a resident, I would say is understanding on the budget, but to me, a town manager, regardless of who it would be, is an investment. You guys have done honestly great without one for quite a while. I have really not, as a resident, heard too many complaints. However, my concern would be, and again, take this with a grain of salt, as that would be something that I would be interested in personally. But with the comprehensive plan being finished, you know, at the end of the year, to me, that is the time that I think would be the perfect time to implement something like that. If you are gonna be able to figure out in the budget how to do it, now would be the time. Having somebody at the head of that, you know, with your guys' support, I think would be very important. So again, for what it's worth, again, take it with a grain of salt, because that is something that I'm interested in. But even, you know, if the call goes out and there's 30 of us and somebody else were to be picked, I would be happy, because I feel like just the town needs that go-to person. And again, everybody has done, I know the duties have kind of been divvied up amongst everybody, and you guys have done well with that, as far as I can tell, doing your normal duties in addition to those that town manager would originally help with. You know, I knew Chris for quite a while, and I had talked with him when I was doing economic development at the EDC here after college. And so I know Chris when he was doing it, and I've talked with him many times over the years about, you know, how when he was in that position. And so it's just something that I would like to see again in the town, whether that involves me or not. I think right now is a good time if you guys could go through that with confidence and understand that there might be cuts places, and I understand that. But with the conclusion of a new comprehensive plan, I think now would be a good time to look at it very closely. And if it you know, the pennies aren't there for it, then they're not there, but just, again, my 2 cents as a resident, but also somebody who would be very interested in helping the town go forward. I love this town, lived here my whole life, graduated from here, went to school, came back, and I just want to keep being involved. And this is definitely the next area that I think that would be personally a good path for me, but also something that I think I could be helpful with for the town with all your guys' support, so. I guess that's it. Thank you.
And so you don't take a,
Thank you for your constructive comments. Okay.
so you don't take a vote at this, you'll actually adopt it at the council meeting, the regular council meeting.
Okay, so if that's, anybody else have anything they would like to say? No? Okay, then I guess we can close the public hearing on the Fremont budget for 2026. Closed.